We also read several articles about the Duwamish River, which is a local Seattle Superfund site. This was eye-opening in a few ways. For one, it was important to learn about how the industrialization of the Duwamish River ruined it as a source of safe food, and also deeply hurt the Duwamish tribe who value the river for religious and cultural reasons. It was also shocking to learn that a recent plan to clean up involved shipping. It was also shocking to learn that a recent plan to clean up involved shipping the toxic sludge from the Duwamish to the Commencement Bay in Tacoma. The plan was eventually scrapped. Instead, the sludge was shipped to a landfill in Klickitat County, a Pooh region of Washington state. This also led us to wonder if our cleanup efforts are really working, if the plan is to simply pollute other places. It also had us wondering if there's a difference, if instead of hurting neighborhoods of color, it instead hurts poor white neighborhoods. Let's now focus on the environment. Environmental inequality. It refers to the difference groups may have experienced. For instance, based on the state in which they live. The causes may be structural, geographical, legal, historical, or other. As you can see in this picture, one group lives in a nice area while others have to live in a gross and unsafe area. This is environmental inequality. Environmental racism. It's a type of environmental inequality which we find a pattern that the people who most likely to be in this unsafe places are people of color. This is another example of structural racism. Furthermore, the causes of this outcome are also often rooted in racism. For instance, there is a racial wealth gap that is tied to America's legacy of slavery, or where Black neighborhoods grew was influenced by redlining, which is a racist practice which prevented people of color from buying homes in good neighborhoods. Environmental inequality includes poor white neighborhoods, but poor white neighborhoods do not experience environmental racism. This is because their circumstances are not caused by racism. They do, they do not have effects which disproportionately hurt white people.
Structural classism versus structural racism. Structures which hurt the people, structures which hurt people of color. Some structures target those as ones. That doesn't mean environmental inequality is okay for other people is there. For white people also deserve a safe environment in which they live. Just live, just like people of color, the Jewish people, and everyone else. We saw before how structural racism hurts people of color. For white people experiencing environmental inequality, it is often due to structures that hurt the poor. This is called structural classism. In this case, environmental classism, this is, these are systems in which poor people suffer because they do not have the money, time, or power to fight back. Some systems hurt people of color and poor people at the same time. This is often the case with structural racism because structural poverty is one of its effects.
So there are three causes of environmental racism: bigotry, type racism. This is especially important for a historical lens: structural racism and structural classism.
Our solution focuses on U.S. environmental policy and law. Our approach centers the need for equity and sustainability in our industrial and other sectors. This means that U.S. law must protect the health and safety of its citizens as well as its environment through the creation and implementation of environmentally safe and circular processes. It also requires funding to clean up and mentor areas like Superfund sites, particularly near communities of color, which have been experienced environmental injustice for so long. This is the only way to safely and fairly approach clean up what messes already exist and ensuring a